How do I know who to trust? How do I know if you're really an expert? Typically, professionals introduce themselves that way. They say, I'm a psychologist, or they say, I'm a dietitian or a nutritionist. Yes, those are professionals. They need to train to have that designation. And the reason I'm making this video is because I read this title. I'm a PCOS focused dietitian, and these are my go-to nutrition tips. And I thought to myself, I know people who have PCOS. And if there's some food tips that they can get that are going to really help them to solve that problem, I'm interested. I want to share this information with as many people as I can. I want to point out that across the world at the moment, 1 in 10 women have PCOS. 10% of the female population has PCOS. Now, not a doctor. So the first thing I did was say, let me define PCOS for myself, just so that I'm going to understand the instruction she's about to give my close and dear friends who have PCOS. PCOS is defined as irregular periods, excessive androgen, so those are the male hormones, and the eggs in your ovaries are encased in a fluid sac rather than just being in the normal scenario that they're supposed to be in. This sac blocks ovulation and pregnancy. From what I read, the cause was unknown. However, there were some guesses that were given. The trends for people who have PCOS are that they tend to have high insulin and insulin resistance. That high insulin is known to contribute to their excessive testosterone. So that was one piece of information that seemed to be known. And that they tend to be overweight. There was no link made back from the overweight to the insulin, but we know that to be an interesting connected piece of information. After gathering that information for myself so that I fully understood what the definition of PCOS was, I went back and I completed reading the article. Tip number 1 was start small. The idea being add a new positive habit, a small one, do it repeatedly till it becomes part of your everyday, and then add another small positive habit. And just keep doing that and try to get as many good new behaviors in so that you can improve your health. Thought that was a great idea. Tip number 2. I'm going to read this one to you. I don't want to get it wrong. Eat frequently throughout the day. So eat small, frequent meals and snacks 4 to 6. Eat when hungry. That includes carbs, fiber, fat, and protein in your meal. And this is supposed to help you to stabilize your blood sugar, prevent excessive hunger, reduce your cravings, and build trust in your, so to have trust in your body that it can do what it's supposed to do, if I'm understanding this correctly. The third one, honor your cravings. Hunger, emotions, or hormones can signal cravings. Eat what you crave because your body is telling you that that's what it wants. There were a few more parameters that they gave. So try to eat your desserts close to a meal. Try to make your desserts be homemade. Try to make whatever dessert you're having be balanced. So if you can't eat that dessert close to a meal, you should add protein to it to make sure it's a balance. Those were the 3 tips. My problem here is this. When someone walks up to you and says, I am a specialist in PCOS and I'm a dietitian, and then they give you 3 tips that you could find in any magazine or blog from 1980. What am I supposed to do with that information? What am I supposed to gather from the fact that this article is new? Is the purpose supposed to be to make money in some way? Or is the purpose of writing an article today in 2021 supposed to be to give good quality information or warn the reader about misinformation? Here's my problem. Tip number 2, eat frequently throughout the day. Small, 4 to 6 meals. We know that eating frequently throughout the day rises our insulin. The first thing that I did was check what causes PCOS. The trend they see is that people with PCOS have high insulin. But now I'm getting the recommendation from my dietitian to eat frequently throughout the day. That's going to increase my insulin even more. Second problem, Include carbs, fiber, fat, and protein. Carbs was first. What causes insulin to rise the most? Carbs. Again, information I'm getting from my PCOS specialized dietitian. Eat 4 times a day, focus on carbs. Again, that will lead my insulin to rise. One of the first trend that was there, high insulin. Now, the dietitian said that this is going to stabilize my blood sugar. No, no, it's not. If I eat any carbs, it doesn't even have to be a high amount of carbs. If I eat any carbs, the first thing my body does is step in and put those carbohydrates away, because my blood sugar, if I'm healthy, should already be at 5. If I'm not healthy, but I haven't eaten anything in the last whatever, hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, it should be at 5. My body is always trying to keep me at 5. If my blood sugar is higher or if my blood sugar is lower, it's lower because chances are I ate something and insulin stepped in and aggressively put those carbohydrates away. Eating more carbohydrates is not going to keep my blood sugar stable. It's actually going to cause it to continually dip, which will do what? Cause me to be hungry. The next mistake that was written there is that it's the statement that it's going to help you to be satiated. No, it's not. It's going to make you hungrier. And how eating 4 to 6 times a day is going to help improve my relationship with my body or with food or with, I don't even understand that one. I'm not even going to touch that at all, because that just seems to me to be something that was tacked on in the end there with no explanation, and it doesn't actually make any sense. I'm already a person, according to what I'm reading there, that likely could be overweight, because that's another one of the trends that they see with people with PCOS, that they are overweight. How is eating more going to help me to be more in? It's just going to make me feel like I'm raising my weight, which is not going to help my view of what I like of my body. Like the third one, honor your cravings. That basically, regardless of whether you're hungry, emotional, or hormonal, if you crave something, you should just eat it. Again, contributing to the possibility that I will be overweight, but also, if I'm not actually hungry, why am I being encouraged to eat? If I could figure out that, well, really what's happening is that I'm emotional right now, why is it good for me to eat at that point in time? If I'm emotional, what my brain really needs me to do is solve the thing that's causing me to be emotional, not eat more food. And if I'm eating out of hormone imbalance, eating more food is not going to help that hormone imbalance, because eating more food will likely raise my insulin, a hormone, putting my hormones even more out of balance, causing me to have a problem with my hormone balance. The author acknowledges that when you're honoring your cravings, likely what you're going to be craving is sweets, because they then turn around and say you should add protein to whatever you're eating. They turn around and say you should try to eat that close to a meal. They say all these things that are not going to help, because you've already given me permission to overeat. Wellness warriors, I want you to be careful when you're looking for information on the internet. And again, I understand the hypocrisy, because I'm sitting here on the internet giving you advice. But wellness warriors, when you see I'm a specialist, listen to me, because I'm a specialist. I know better than you because I'm a specialist. But then they're giving you information that is easily verified as inappropriate, inaccurate, 20 years old. And so my point is, please, 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 please verify information. Please. I think that we're so happy sometimes to hear someone say what we want them to say, that we will accept that poor information, even though what they're saying doesn't make sense, even though what they're saying in this particular case is going to make my condition worse. Because that's what following that advice will do. It will make the condition worse. A quick search showed me that PCOS contradicts what they're telling you to do. And I really want to point this piece out, because a true specialist will always encourage you to get a second opinion if what they're saying is going to have a huge impact on your life. A true specialist who was going to give that kind of information would have said, oh, and by the way, here's the links that show that this is true, and here's the links that show that's true. A true specialist would have presented you information to help you to see that this wasn't coming out of the air, or a 1980s magazine, that it was new and current information that you could rely on to help manage your PCOS. That's not information that will help manage your PCOS. There's actually a video on the screen right there that's going to help you to understand why eating carbohydrates is not a good idea. And especially if you have PCOS, please, I hope you watch this video. Wellness Warriors, I'm always so happy that you come back. And everybody who's new, subscribe and ring the bell so you can get on the road to health. I want to thank you for watching Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet, and I really can't wait to talk to you again next week.